trust everybody. I mean, we can go back to the other question over here. Do I trust everybody? No. There's a lot of people I don't trust anymore, but, you know, I don't get to be in charge of all that.
Never hurts to have extra safeguards in place.
Yeah.
To protect, I think, our most precious right in America, and that's being able to vote.
I'm Kyle Carpenter. I'm 17, and I really don't know what I want to be. We read the Women's League of Voters, working for the forensic investigators, is conducting a statewide audit of all electronic voting machines from the 2010 election. Richland County alone has found over 2,600 unaccounted votes. How do we know that voting machines are accurately counting votes as they are being cast, and that they will be accurately summarized results at the end of the day?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question. I'll be perfectly honest with you. That's probably something that I need to find out myself, because it affects me, and I don't know how to sure. I don't, like I said, I don't trust them either, because it's funny that the one ballot box that I lost really big was one that they couldn't get open. You know, it was one that, you know, they couldn't get there quick enough. That was kind of riding around in somebody's trunk. And it came from Springdale, and it couldn't get there. How far is Springdale from where they were taking it? So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a good question. I think it needs to be addressed, because we had a real problem with some of the ballot boxes that don't show up, and where do they go, and why did it take so long? It was just traveling like 5 miles.
Just like with police scanner equipment, it needs to be calibrated.
Yeah. And I think they probably need to take them off every so often, you know, like every 2 hours, take the votes off and start over or something. I mean, there needs to be a better system that needs to come into fruition before 2012.
There were lots of glitches. In fact, Brent Nelson, Dr. Nelson and I were discussing this after the primary. This was up in Greenville. He went to vote in the superintendent race, pressed the button to vote for himself. Someone else's name popped up. That also happened over here in Lexington County.
My name didn't show up.
No. Another elected official went to cast the vote for themselves, and the primary challenger's name popped up. They did insist that the machine be taken away and fixed, and they did. But how many of these cases,
before that
right? Or how many of these machines where people maybe didn't have a vested interest, like candidates would in their own election, that they just either didn't notice or it's not worth saying anything?
I didn't even know they were supposed to be on there. Well, that happened in mine. I mean, some precincts, my name didn't even show, my election didn't even show up.
So there's definitely room for improvement. I think a forensic investigator is the place to start. Who's next?
My name is Edwin Pressure. The state of South Carolina has more responsibility for the choices. It encourages its students and parents to make the arguable and our policies.
Do I think that parents should have a board choice in schools? Do I agree with school choice? I believe that parents should have a choice in schools. I'm an advocate that in Lexington County, in Lexington 1 and Lexington District 5, I think that we have wonderful schools. I think that schools in our districts are so good that we would never need school choice. I think if you go to Fairfield County, I think if you go to Barnwell and Bamberg, it's so opposite that it's scary, and I think that those children are so underserved that they will never get the opportunities that you have. And I think something needs to be done. Do I know the answer of how it needs to be done? Not necessarily, but I think that they need a better opportunity than what they have, and they're not getting it through the school system. but I think that they're very underserved, and I think that they will never get out of where they are if we don't do something about it as a state, because they're not going to get it from their county. It's not going to get changed. And the parents in Lexington District 1 and Lexington District 5 care enough about their children that they are always going to make sure that they get a good education. And I don't care if you went to school in a shoebox, your parents are going to make sure you get a good education. But those parents, it's a regeneration. It's over and over and over again, and they're never going to get out of the cycle. And those children do not have the opportunity that you have. And unless we as people of South Carolina do something about it, and whether it's school choice or it's something, they're never going to get any better. And the cycle continues, and you have the Dillon counties and where they're going to school, and it's horrible. I mean, if you've seen the pictures. I mean, President Obama had the pictures of, I mean, the little girl from Dillon County.
Tanisha, she's up there at the thing.
Yeah, she had the school. I mean, look where she goes to school, and then look where you go to school. I mean, it gives me chill bumps to think that if they go to school, they don't have air conditioning and nice cafeterias, and we have such wonderful schools. They're building a premier school over in Lexington 1 that looks like I mean, something you've never seen, like a spaceship over there. I don't know what that thing is. I mean, but you know, they don't have anything down there, and then we have so much. And unless the state does something about it, it will not change. So do I believe we need to do something? Yeah. And they can't do it in Dillon County. So the state has to do something about it.
And they need to have oversight. Actually, with Dillon County, perfect example, they were given a lot of money, federal money that President Obama sent down. It never made it to the schools.
And so the state has to do
oversight.
it. It can't be done in the county, so the state has to do it.
Somebody's got to watch where it's going and make sure that it gets down to the schools and classrooms. Angelica?
My name is Angelica. My question is, supportive of school choice say that parents in South Carolina want it. If that's the case, why don't legislators want it?
Well, I don't know, because if I were a legislator, I would want it. I think I don't know how legislators don't want it. I think some legislators don't want it. I would tell you my legislator doesn't want it, the one that I'm running against, because he thinks that because our school district is so good, he thinks that it will lose him votes, and that teachers don't, he thinks that the teachers and the administrators in that district don't want it. So they will fight him over it, and he will lose votes over it. And I can tell you that because that's one of the things he fought me over in the last election, because that was one of the things that the state newspaper fought me over, because they said that I was for vouchers or school choice, and he was not, and they said they endorsed him on that one issue, because they said that he was not for school choice and I was, so they endorsed him because the school administrators, because they think that it's going to hurt the district, and it won't. It won't, because we have such good schools. You know, you go to a good school, look at the school, so you know it won't hurt you, and it'll help other students that don't have good schools. But I think that that's the big issue. I think that legislators maybe don't support it because they think it'll hurt them within their district.